the country. I know there's a lot of Southerners here, and it's amazing to have you all here. I know it means a lot to them. So, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Dana, a longtime friend of Stephanie's. We can be dated back to middle school, but our friendship didn't really start until we were track stretching buddies in high school our freshman year. And by senior year, we were almost inseparable. We went to the same college, were roommates for 2 years, and needless to say, Steph is one of my best friends, and I couldn't imagine going through life and its hurdles without her. When it came to writing this speech, the first thing that popped into my head were all of the Steph-isms and Steph stories. And I just had to laugh. Stephanie is the one who was likely to put her foot in her mouth, trip over a sidewalk crack, and just be Steph. It's hard to think of her without her silly quirks, but I've decided not to stand up here and tell those stories to you tonight. But if you want to hear some good ones, come find me later. I got lots. Moving on to why we are here, Stephanie and Alan. Stephanie always enjoyed having fun and her freedom, but when she met Alan, something in her changed. They met in Virginia Beach, went on a few dates, and then Alan was off on deployment. A few weeks after Alan left for deployment, I went to visit Steph. While enjoying a great vacation, Steph would pause every now and then and do something that was unheard of for her at the time. She would check her email and then reply if Alan wrote. For those who don't know her well, Steph is not the greatest email person when she's not dealing with wedding stuff. So for her to check her email daily and then actually reply was huge at that time. She kept every email they exchanged over the time Alan was gone. I believe when he came back for good, she told me the count, and it was around like 4,000 emails. There were like 3,000. So very high number of emails they exchanged. Anyways. Every now and then she would actually send me or tell me about some of the emails because no one knew Alan, so she had to share that information somehow. And to let me know that he was different and this was a different relationship. It took a couple years for us to meet Alan, so this was her way of sharing how sweet he was and that he was different. I could tell her outlook on the future was changing and her mind was focused on Alan returning. Alan came back and left again, but the time they had to reconnect with each other was a time well spent. When Alan left for Iraq, Steph was almost certain that he could be the one. Finally, the day came when I got to meet Alan. It was the day before my wedding. Steph dropped by briefly to say hi, and of all things, drop off some meat. And to introduce Alan. He walked in and said, "Hi, y'all." And shortly after, remarked how Wisconsin stereotypes were true. "Nice to meet you too, Southerner." At the time we were assembling wedding programs, Alan walked over to see how it was done, grabbed some sheets and ribbon, made himself right at home on the couch and started assembling programs. From that moment, he got my definite approval. Unfortunately, I was unable to really get to know him and hang out with him that weekend, but the rest of the Wisconsin crew did, and he definitely got their approval. Never mind the fact that Alan started to conspire with all the significant others as to how to break out a golf cart to go for a joyride. Oh yes, they did. And talk about an icebreaker for meeting a new group of people. Alan fit in a little too well, but I can't imagine Stephanie without him. My chance to spend time with Alan finally came when I went to visit them in Denver over the 2009 New Year, right after their engagement. We all know Stephanie can lose her cool at times, like a beer spill, a food mess, or just outright frustration. But it was amazing to see how Alan has this calming effect over her. I believe the phrase Alan uses for Stephanie's situations is, "put your big girl pants on." They always seem to put themselves in intense or crazy situations that test their limits, like eat extremely hot triple atomic chicken wings. Waiters say to Luke, they're coming to Denver, go visit his office. And Alan got his picture. They are what I dub the extreme couple. From skiing in Colorado to tackling the same mountains on bikes, skydiving, planning to hike 14,000 feet up, and just challenging each other to silly video games and just keeping it real. I know Stephanie, and I can't believe the things she has tackled since being with Alan is actually still living. It's so great to see the support they give each other and the courage, strength, and the trust they show to push each other through new challenges, physically and mentally. You two are definitely made for each other and have a great foundation for a long and happy marriage together. At this time, I would like to give a toast to Stephanie and Alan. So you can all raise your hands. As the years unfold and the love grows, may God bless you with joy and maybe even a little boy. Marriage is not meant for the faint of heart, but you two have a pretty good start. We toast to love and happiness in life, although it won't come without strife. Here's to the Tweedies who are strong-willed. May you live life together in which your love is fulfilled. And for those in attendance, just remember one thing: this party ain't over until Alan sings. Cheers and much